I'm Jennifer. Welcome to Orton Gillingham Coaching. Many people ask me when they start with the Orton Gillingham approach, where do I start with my students? Today I'd like to answer that question, and the answer is drill cards. Almost all Orton Gillingham lesson plans start with our drill cards, and the reason is that they're perfect for our auditory, visual, and kinesthetic learning style. Drill cards are used to teach our letter names, letter sounds, and our keywords. So for example, J, jam, K, kite, L, lemon, M, man, P, pan, and we would keep going with our student. The order we teach those letters and letter sounds is on our scope and sequence. So M, A, S, B, and we would teach a few at a time. Depending on the level of our student, we may teach 2, we may teach 3. If a student can handle it, we'll teach 4 or 5. Not only are we using our drill cards to teach reading consonants, we're teaching reading vowels, we're teaching vowel teams, we're teaching R-controlled vowels, all kinds of things. We can teach syllables, we can teach C and G. There's a drill card for almost everything, and I'm going to give a list of those later. These cards are used to teach speed and automaticity. So we're looking to get them fast at doing this. In other words, we would start out J, jam, K, kite, L, lemon. But what we would end up doing with a student is J, K, L, M. And when there's 2 letter sounds, eventually, let's say it's S, we would say S, Z. And so you would drop the keyword and letter name and we're looking for them to be very fast at this. But we use our scope and sequence and we teach those apart from each other, but eventually we want them going through this deck quickly. A couple of things about using drill cards in lessons. First is always start with what your student has already learned before you introduce a new concept. When a concept is new, you show the card, you tell them the letter name, the sound, and the keyword. You could be the judge of how many you can introduce at a time with your student. You might just do 2, you might do up to 5. You should also have your student writing the letter, and I like to have them say the letter sound while they're writing it or after they write it. You could do that with sand, you could do that with shaving cream, or you can just do it on paper. I have these sandpaper letters that I like as well. How do you know if a student has conquered a sound or a concept? They can say it as fast as you can flip it. So it'd be like J, K, L, M, P, R, Ch, V. And they would be at that fast. What are some activities we can do with drill decks? First is basic drills. So this is my R-controlled deck. You would have them say or, fork, R, arm, bird, fern, turtle, and then your deck gets more complicated with 3-letter ones, but at first you would just introduce these. Another activity that makes it a little more competitive and fun is to time it. So you could have them or, and let's say we were further in, R, ear, and some of them have 2 sounds. But so, especially if they've already learned the deck and we're trying to get them to have a little fun with it, we can try and get them to beat their last time. So we keep a little record and say, last time you did it and this time, now you could do it. Let's see how fast you could do it today. So it just gives them a little competitive edge and kind of fun. If a student gets a card incorrect, just correct them and then be sure to put that card in a separate pile. I always bring those back and that will be the first cards I cover the next lesson. You can also keep a checklist in a student's notebook. In each scope and sequence workbook, there is a large scope and sequence like this, but there's also a smaller scope and sequence that goes with each book. All of those have little check boxes below them for you to be able to make a check mark or code it however you want. But the student can see the progress they're making and it can be kind of exciting for them to see how far they've come. The next activity is sound blending. You can use your cards for this. So let's say you've covered these letters and now you're trying to get them to blend sounds. So you put these 3 and you have them do it slowly. M, a, p, mop, up, mop, mop. And then that's one of the ways to get them to start blending sounds. And then what you could do is start replacing this letter. Now what do you get? L, op, lop. You can replace the letters so that they can see, oh, when I replace the with l, now I get lop. You can get more complicated with this later. When you cover CH, you could do ch-op, chop. So it's okay when you're doing this drill. If you, let's say you have I and you're putting different consonants on either side, it's okay if it's a nonsense word. Lim, pim. It's okay if it doesn't make sense. Another activity is being tactile. One way to do that is air writing. You could just simply have them write in the air. R, r, ring. R, r, ring. It's still getting them to visualize it, and they're feeling themselves write it. They see it, they're writing it. So air writing is one method. Another is to have an actual tactile surface like these sandpaper letters, R, R, ring, R, R, ring. You can use sand, you can use shaving cream, you can have R's across a sheet and have them trace each one, or you can have them actually just write the letter while they're saying it and saying the letter, sound, and keyword. Another activity we could do is spelling sounds. The difference in spelling sounds and in reading sounds is that reading a sound, I'm going to use the letter J. You would show the card J. They would say, that's J. It says J, and the keyword's jump. Spelling the letter sound, you would say, what letter or letter combinations can spell the sound J? Well, now we're talking about J, G as in Jim, GE, DGE as in edge, and even when you get real complicated, DU as in educate. There is a spelling dictation deck, but I prefer to combine that with something like this. I have a whole packet on spelling sounds. So I would have them, this is a beginner sheet, and they would only learn J, G, and DGE or GE. And then there would be an advanced sheet much later to include DU in it. I like to combine the two because I find that even tutors, teachers, and parents get confused about the difference between reading a letter and spelling a letter. It can be a little confusing. Another something to do with the drill cards is to start your lesson with them. Begin the lesson by reviewing what you did the previous lesson, or end your lesson with your drill cards. Just a quick review of what you've gone over. Use drill cards to do that. It might be a great time to do the timed portion at the end to get them excited about the next time they could beat that time. What are the decks? They are, I'm reading these, so they are reading consonants, reading vowels, reading vowel with R, diacritical markings, revlock, roots, short vowel strips, suffixes, syllable division, language vocabulary, prefixes, sight words, blends, C and G rule, spelling consonants, spelling vowels with R. Do I use all of these? No. I've never taught diacritical markings with a deck. I do use them mostly for reading consonants, reading vowels with R. I use it for revlock to show syllables. I do use roots, short vowel strips, love them. Suffixes, yes. Syllable division, not really. I've never used language vocabulary. Prefixes, yes. Sight words, I have a SOS technique sight word workbook. I use that more. It has cards in it, so I do use cards, but not necessarily my card decks. I use it within my packet. Blends, absolutely, to get used to the blends. C and G rule, absolutely yes. And like I said, the spelling consonants, I use my packet more for that. If your decks differ than mine, or I have named one that you do not have, or I have not named one that you do have, it's okay. There's a lot of people out there teaching different ways of this approach. As long as you have the three-prong, auditory, kinesthetic, and visual, and that auditory is a big portion of it. You are doing dictation, you are using drill cards, as long as you're following the basis of the approach, it could differ a little bit, and that's okay. Should you buy or make your own cards? Either one. I have a drill card book where you can print this on cardstock, fold it over. On the front is the letter, on the back is the keyword and sound, or sounds. You could put it on cardstock, fold it over, and have it that way. Within this same book, I also have sticker templates. So you could buy some index cards and print the stickers and just stick it on the front, stick it on the back, the letter and keyword. You can also, I have a template. It's a Microsoft Word template on my website. You can put that, you just replace the letter, print it, replace the letter, print it, and you can do it for front and back or you can do like I do. I print the front, and sometimes I have printed the back as well, but a lot of them I just write on the back. So it could be easy, or you could be a little more complicated with it, but you can make your own at home. Where should our drill cards live? The jewel box is what it's called, and I like this metal one. This is from Amazon. I'll put a link. I have found that it's very sturdy. It's lasted me forever. It lasted me a really long time now. I started out with a photo box that fell apart, so I got this after that, and I have found that it's just been great. It's perfect. It's not super light, but it travels well because it has this top. If you're in a classroom, it's nice and neat. You could even have a couple of them if you wanted. It holds games, it holds everything, and I have just found this is the best solution. I've heard of people using notebooks. To me, that seems it gets too bulky. I respect everybody's system, but to me, this one's been the best. As a final word, I hope you've seen that drill cards are a cornerstone of the Orton Gillingham approach, and that they truly encompass the auditory, visual, and kinesthetic part of our teachings. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you'll like and subscribe and visit the workbook store.